Oke.
Ada yang
Hello everyone. Today I will start our presentation about multilingualism and bilingualism. First, I will explain three important key concepts in social linguistics: bilingualism, multilingualism, and diglossia. These concepts are discussed by Janet Holmes and Mariam Meyerhoff in their books on social linguistics. Oke, next slide. Oke, udah ya. Next slide,
oh ya,
please.
sorry. Wait. Oke.
Oke, multilingualism, bilingualism means the ability of an individual to use two language. This concept focus on individual speakers. There are two main types of bilinguals. The first one is a balanced bilinguals when a person has similar competence in both language. The second one is a dominant bilingual when one language is stronger or more frequently used than the another. For example, in Indonesia, many students can speak both Indonesia language and Japanese at home because they regularly use two language. They are considered bilingual. And next slide.
What?
The next is multilingualism. Multilingualism refers to ability of a person or a community to use more than two languages. We can talk about two types. The first one is individual multilingualism, when one person know three or more language, for example, Indonesian, English, and Arabic. The second one is social multilingualism, when an entire community regularly use several languages for a different purpose. A clear example in Indonesia is in Papua. Children uh, there may speak their local mother tongue, use bahasa Indonesia in school, and also use talk Pisin or English in course or in trade. This is a real case of multilingualism practice. And next slide. Enggak. Sorry. Uh, Diglossia. Diglossia is a situation where two varieties of a language or sometimes even two different languages are used in the same community, but with different function. There are two types of diglossia in the narrow sense explained by Ferguson. We have a high variety and low variety. The high variety is used a formal settings such as school, religion, or government. May involve two different language with a function separation. For example, in Japanese community, uh, people often use karma as the high variety in a formal context, and ngoko as low variety in a family or informal situation. This is a classic case of diglossia. Okay, next material will be present by Berliana.
Okay, hello. My name is Berlin Astrid, and in here my part is to discuss the realities of multilingualism in Indonesia, especially in relation to our national and local language. So the first is Indonesia is known as one of the most linguistically diverse countries in the world, with more than 700 local languages spoken across different island and ethnic groups. As Holmes 2030 explained, multilingualism refers to the ability of individuals or community to use more than one language in daily life. Similarly, Meyerhoff is 2018 highlights that multilingual society often display a wide range of language functions, depending on context. This perfectly reflects Indonesia's situation where most people grow up using a local mother tongue at home while also learning and practice the national language Bahasa Indonesia. All right, next slide. All right. Oh, sorry. Oh ya benar berarti segitu. Okay, the second is Bahasa Indonesia plays a unifying role as the national language. It was chosen in the Yacht Pledge Sumpah Pemuda 1928 to unite people from different ethnic groups. Even though Bahasa Indonesia is not the mother tongue for most Indonesians, it is widely used as lingua franca across at archipelago. At the same time, local language such Javanese, Sundanese, Balinese, Bugis, and many others continue to serve as strong cultural identity markers. The third is the multilingualism reality in Indonesia creates a dynamic situation, and people often sit between local language and Bahasa Indonesia depending on context, which demonstrates what Holmes 2030 calls the glossia. The use of different language for differential function, for the example, formal setting with family Japanese or Sudanese may be preferred, but in school, workplace, and national media, Bahasa Indonesia dominates. And in this conclusion, multilingualism in Indonesia is not only a theoretical concept but a daily reality. The coexistencies of local language and Bahasa Indonesia show the richness of our linguistic landscape while also shaping how Indonesians communicate, learn, and maintain their identities. And the last material will be presented by Najwa. So, Najwa. What? This time is yours. What? Pan bawa mana? Pan bawa mana?
Hello, can you
Okay.
hello? Hello.
Hello. Okay, well, time is yours.
I'm sorry for the bad network here. So next we'll talk about what is multilingualism and bilingualism means for English learning in multilingual classroom like ours. Okay, before we got into the deep, let me remind you of the definition. First, bilingual means someone can use the language, while multilingual is more than. And in fact, in many parts of the world, including Indonesia, multilingualism is the norm. For example, in Paraguay, people use Spanish for school and official matters, but at home, they use Guarani. In Luxembourg, people switch between German, French, and Luxembourgese depending on the situation. So, what this means for us? Janet Helmets explained that language choice influenced by who are without thinking, where we are, and for what purpose. If we talk to close friends,
we might use an informal style, but with teacher or official, we tend to use more formal and this shifting between language is called code switching. Okay, now many people think code switching is wrong, but actually it's a skill. By switching language, people can show identity, respect, and emotion. When we connect these two English sounds, it becomes clear that multilingualism is a strength and is entered as a part of student-wider linguistic repertoire. So, in this classroom, it's natural for students to mix Indonesian, local language, and English. Next slide, please.
Okay. Wait, it's loading. All right. Effective teaching strategies.
So, this is about strategy. Let me share a classroom example. While teaching vocabulary, a student might ask me, Miss, besar in Indonesian is big. In English, right? I say, yes, that's right. Besar in Indonesian means big in English. By connecting their first language to English, students could understand faster and confident. So, multilingualism is not a problem, it's a valuable resource. In Indonesian classroom, where students bring many language, we can use code switching and their language experiences to support English learning. When we value their linguistic backgrounds, the classroom become more inclusive, more effective, and more engaging. Thank you.
All right.
That's all
Uh,
from me.
all right, that's all from our group. Thanks for watching our group project and see you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.